Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to April 27th meeting of the Aiken City Council. If you're inclined, please rise for the invocation followed by the pledge. Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, send down upon those who hold office in the city of Aiken the spirit of wisdom, charity, and justice, that with steadfast purpose they may faithfully serve in their offices to promote the well-being of all people. In your name we pray. Amen. Chief, would you come and lead us in the pledge?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As the meeting begins, I will review the guidelines. Meetings are public forums in which many opinions are expressed and the business of the city must be conducted. As such, disciplined, honorable, and professional decorum is paramount. Courteous and respectful communication is required. There should be no disruptions from the floor while council members or members of the public are speaking. Anyone wishing to speak must be recognized so that we can retain order as we conduct the business of the city, and all comments can be put into the public record. During public hearings, all questions and statements from the public shall be directed to the chair. If you wish to speak, raise your hand and I will recognize you. Please approach the podium and state your name and address. In order to allow an opportunity for everyone who wishes to address council, speakers should limit their comments to the subject being discussed. Each speaker will be given 5 minutes to address an issue and may only address an issue once unless questions from council are posed to the speaker. During the non-agenda public comment section, each speaker has 3 minutes and can only speak once. We now move to additions and deletions to the agenda. I recognize Mayor Pro Tem Kay Brohl for this item.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everyone. We're glad to see you here. Hope you've been enjoying this beautiful weather, although we'd like to pray for a little bit of rain. I think we got a tiny bit last night, but not enough. Madam Mayor, there are no additions or deletions, but I will note that our executive meeting for after our council meeting has been canceled, so that is a change.
Thank you. Councilman Brohl made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
That's from Councilman Waldo. All those in favor? Thank you. The minutes were provided to council for review prior to the meeting. Is there a motion for approval of the minutes?
I so move.
Councilwoman Diggs made the motion. And a
I'll second, Madam Mayor.
second from Councilwoman Brohl. Any comments or changes? All those in favor? Thank you. There is one presentation tonight. It is the presentation of a proclamation for Small Business Week. Councilman Waldo, will you read that, please, for us?
Yes, Madam Mayor. I have a proclamation for National Small Business Week. Whereas small businesses are the engine of the American economy and the foundation of the free and prosperous nation, accounting for more than 99% of all private sector employers and creating nearly 2 out of every 3 new jobs nationwide. And whereas from farms and factories to the frontiers of technology, small businesses drive innovation, strengthen the local economies, and provide the products and services that keep America competitive, secure, and strong. And whereas the America First economic resurgence has produced more than 500,000 new jobs, driven small business optimism above its 52-year historical average, secured over $20 trillion in foreign investment commitments, and delivered strong GDP growth. And whereas prioritizing energy independence, secure borders, and fair trade, and restoring economic strength, self-resilience, and opportunity. And whereas the enactment of working families tax cuts make the 199A small business deduction permanent, allows 100% of expensing for new factories and equipment, expands opportunity zones, eliminate taxes on tips and overtime, and delivers meaningful tax relief that strengthens small businesses, empowers entrepreneurs, and fuel job creation in the communities. And whereas Small Business Week has been proclaimed by the President of the United States since 1963, honoring the vital role of small business in creating jobs, growing the economy, and anchoring our communities. And whereas in 2026, in the United States, we will commemorate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, known as Freedom 250, marking a historic opportunity to reflect on our nation's founding principles of free enterprise. Now, therefore, Teddy Milner, Mayor, and the Council of the City of Aiken do hereby proclaim May 3rd through the 9th, 2026, as National Small Business Week, and encourage all citizens to support small businesses and celebrate their many achievements.
Thank you. Is Stephanie Bittaker here? Hi. Would you come up for your proclamation?
All right, here we go. One, move over, get away from the podium. 1, 2, 3, ready? You ready? Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3. Hold on a second, let me get mine. All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Now we open the floor to public comments on non-agenda items. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker and for a total of 30 minutes. Who would like to come and speak? Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
My name is Cheryl Ruggles, Ruggles. I live at 1954 Huron Drive, which is in Jim Lakes. So, Madam Mayor, City Council, and citizens of Aiken, I have some America 250 news to share. A food donation from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who is celebrating America 250, arrives at our Golden Harvest Food Bank this Thursday, April 30th in the morning. Approximately 33,000 pounds of food, shelf-stable food such as pasta, fruit, vegetables, fruits, pancake mix, and more, will help neighbors facing food insecurity. We are excited to watch the truck roll in. Golden Harvest will be using that food in future distributions. The delivery is part of a nationwide effort in which the church is sending 250 truckloads to 250 food banks across America, all 50 states, to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. In South Carolina, we are receiving 3 trucks in Aiken, Columbia, and Greenville. Locally, leaders of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Aiken said the delivery reflects a shared desire to care for our neighbors in practical, nonpartisan ways. We are trying to follow the Savior's commandment to love our neighbors. America's 250's desire to reach the citizens also includes a movement of volunteerism by helping in communities across the country. The Church of Jesus Christ has a free, available platform to find ways to volunteer in our communities, nonprofits throughout the nation. Go to justserve.org and open the website or put the app on your phone with your zip code to find a project. Nonprofits can benefit by advertising for volunteers as well as donations in kind at justserve.org. You can even log your hours into the America 250 page, and giving service is rewarding and fun. In addition, America 250 is promoting Telling Your Story and is challenging the nation to find 2 new ancestors, add 5 stories to your collection, and download 10 photos for your posterity. Everyone can do this research by using the free website FamilySearch.org. It has the largest collection of records from around the world. And if you need help getting started, there are 2 places volunteers can help you. One is the Center for African American History, Art, and Culture, located right around the corner at 120 York Street, upstairs in the Genealogy Lab. Their hours when volunteers can help are Wednesday afternoons from 2 to 4 and Fridays 10 a.m. to noon. The other is the Family Search Center, located at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints at 358 East Pine Log Road near Kennedy Middle School. Volunteers are there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to noon. Some computers are available at both places, or you can bring your own laptop. There is no charge at either location and is open for the entire community. We are excited to be celebrating our nation's beginning, and we are grateful for the freedoms we all enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheryl, did I understand you to say that you were having a food distribution on Thursday?
Harvest is going to do a summer distribution during time for families.
Okay. You know what time that is and the criteria people have to meet?
Golden Harvest is in charge.
Okay. I'll give them a call. Thank you.
Yes, sir. That'd be you, Kirk. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. Kurt Johnson, 114 Brewster Way, Aiken, for a short time later. Anyway, what I want to talk about today is we have been getting a lot of contact with the community. The community has stepped up when they see somebody out there on the street. They're giving us a call, which is a good thing. I mean, we are so happy for that. We also want to keep on educating the community that you don't just hand over things to them. Because, I mean, then they become enabled. And we don't want that. We want them to be able to get the things they need to be able to start being a prosperous neighbor. That's the best way to put it. We can get them their IDs. We can get them, we can set them up with jobs. That's one of our biggest problems right now is the transportation. I can get them jobs, but if there's no way to get them there, except for us getting up. I used to drive a guy from Aiken all the way out to Trenton every day, 5 o'clock in the morning, go pick him up, because that was the only transportation we had. So, I mean, the jobs are there, transportation's not. So, as a community, we need to step up on that. The only other thing I can think of right now is that it's starting to get a little warmer. We still need donations of water and hydration things like Gatorade and stuff so that we can keep them hydrated while they're out. Bug spray is another thing so that we can keep them from getting all bit while they're out on the street. That's about it. Any questions?
Kurt, do you have hydration stations?
Yeah, in the back of my
Where are
truck.
they located? No, I mean.
No, that's all that we have right now,
the-
unless
the
the city.
city, right.
The city has, I mean, they open up, Odell Weeks and Leslie Price. They are able to go there. Now, I don't know if you have things like
transportation is-
electrolytes.
Right.
Right.
And transportation will always be a challenge in that respect.
They get around pretty good around town. I haven't seen any of them that have a problem getting from south side to the west side.
Okay.
None at all. But they do have a problem with the hydration. And it's not just water. We need to get them electrolytes so that they can stay up.
And where would people take that to?
They can contact me. My number is 505-340-7151. Call me, or they can go to our webpage, which is Lost Sheep, minofsc.org.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, Lex. Good evening.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Lex Perry, C4 Impact, 1526 South Boundary Avenue Southeast. To add on what Kurt was saying, the C4 also has a cooling station during the day. Individuals can come by. If we have water, of course, we can provide that for them. It's a place where they can cool off. It also gives us an opportunity to find out what's going on. So we always welcome that. I'm thankful to hear that there's going to be a food drive. What I want to encourage the community, if we are giving out food, especially if you're putting it into the blessing boxes, please make sure that the cans are the easy pop open cans and so forth, and foods that's easy to eat. One of the things that we do is we encourage folks to, if they want to help C4, to send the MREs. You can go to Amazon.com, send a case of the MREs. We give those out individually. There's very little to any mess that's left over from those because they're already self-contained. They're high density when it comes to nutrition. It's a great idea to see that. You don't have to can foods. One of the reasons we said that, we have a recent cleanup that we did on Gregg Highway. If you're going down towards Aiken Borough Mental Health, it was on the right side. What we thought was one location encampment ended up being about 4 encampments. We cleaned up most of, I should have about halfway through the first one. We collected 89 30-gallon bags of trash. You can see it on c4impactaiken.com. You can see the pictures. I thank New Spring Church for coming out with us in that collaboration and getting that stuff cleaned out. We are going to go back and clean up more. We had to get a dumpster in order to do that. We had a 30-yard dumpster. We filled it up to the top, all the way across. And there's still a lot more. We didn't even complete the first encampment. And as I said, there's 3 more that's there. We do this because we love the city. We want to see it cleaned up. And this is, there's a lot of food in cans that were in that encampment. You'll see the pictures. They speak for themselves. I don't have to tell you. So I want to encourage folks, if you're going to give something, put it in a blessing box, make sure it's something somebody can open and they can eat easily, because otherwise it's going to end up in the trash or out in one of the encampments on the ground. And also the same thing when you're giving out clothing. Ask questions, find out exactly what the individual really needs. Or go through one of the channels in order to give the clothes out, because we packed up a lot of clothing. Again, you'll see the stuff yourself. I just want to encourage you to be very strategic about the giving that we give. The other thing I want to say is, last time I was here, I talked about the van that I had repaired. Well, 3 days later, that van died. The transmission died on it, so I got the coroner's report on that. It's done. I still need 2 vans. Kurt and I are working on coordinating. Like you said, we can get jobs, but we want to get individuals there. We're stepping up to do that, to get folks to and from jobs, to job interviews, to doctor's appointments and so forth. Again, why do we do that? It's because it allows us to touch, again, the individuals that we're working with, to build that trust in order to get to the next step. We did add a couple more locations where we're able to house people. So we thank the landlords who are reaching out to me, who are willing to work with us. I can give you the details on it. If you have a house you're willing to let us turn into a C4 house, great. We're willing to work. We have to get really creative, and I think we're doing that. And I'm running out of time already, but I appreciate it. If anybody has any questions, please reach out to me. I'll be glad to help.
Thank you, Lex.
Be careful with the blessing box. I've been to 2 in the vicinity of well, we have some at the health center, ants.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I was saying,
no
make sure
sweets.
you're really watching what you put in there.
Right.
People can find the blessing boxes. They go to relink.org. That shows all the blessing boxes are in there, and the places you can get food. It's very easy. And instead of handing out any kind of money and things like that, please tell the people to go to relink.org. They have the phone.
Right.
They can find the resources that they need. There's plenty there. Or come and see or Kurt or I, so that we can help walk them through, because we want to get people off the street. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Lex, after our last meeting 2 weeks ago, I later ran into someone about 4 or 5 days ago, and we were talking about what he was doing. He formerly served on the Parks and Recreation Commission, my appointee, and we talked about what you all were doing, and I told him about the need for a van, and he said, well, I've got a used van in my yard. He has 2 vans. One of them he used to take senior citizens to buy their groceries, things of that nature. But the other one he said that he could use. Well, I left him after talking about various subjects. I thought I had his number, didn't have his number, so I'm going to have to contact Parks and Rec to see if they have his old number so that I can get that to you, and I promise you I'll get it to you in the next few days. Okay?
That's great. Thank you, Pastor Lex and Pastor Kirk.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'm Brent Fowler, 1749 Powderhouse Road. That's Aiken County. I want to talk just briefly, not specifically about any annexation, but about the ongoing stormwater coming from the Powderhouse connector. I spoke last week to the Planning Commission. Some of you may have seen me on TV. Some of y'all probably have seen my PowerPoint. The 2 retention ponds that come off the Powderhouse connector, the 2 that are already established, that creek or ditch comes to the face of my property. And so I'm trying to figure out this timeline because there's an email from City Council on February 5th that looked at my property, Parcel B at the time as it was called, and it stated there would be no water runoff implications. We started to build our home in March of 2021. We moved in July of 2022. During Hurricane Helene, we got 7 inches of rain, and not one drop of water came out of that culvert under Powderhouse from the connector property onto our property. Fast forward to May 12th, we had a very significant flooding. Keith Lawrence spoke here in these chambers on June 23rd that it was unfortunate timing of cutting in those retention ponds, and once they were established, they would be able to hold this water. We haven't had a lot of rain, as you said, Ms. Kay. February 27th, we had 3 inches of rainfall. I had a week of flooding across that property. March 16th, the last significant rainfall, 1.5 inches of rainfall, days of flooding. So I went from having a hurricane with 7 inches of rain, not one drop of water, to now anytime that we get about an inch, inch and a half of rain, I've got days of flooding. So I just want the council to consider that as it looks at other annexations related to the overall Powderhouse connector. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. We will now move to approval of the consent agenda. Mr. Beedenbow, will you please read the titles of the items on the consent agenda tonight?
Thank you. We did not receive any comments from residents or individuals electronically or submissions to the city clerk by 7 p.m. So we have one item on the consent agenda. It's an ordinance to certify certain property located at the northeast intersection of Richland Avenue and Marlborough Street Northeast and bound on the north by Barnwell Street and on the east by Orangeburg Street, and further identified below as a textile mill site under the South Carolina Textiles Communities Revitalization Act, Title 12, Chapter 65 of the South Carolina Code of Laws, 1976, as amended, for the purpose of allowing the owner and/or developer to qualify for state income tax credits.
Thank you. Is there a motion, please?
I so move.
Councilwoman Diggs made the first motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Councilman Waldo. Since there are no, there's no comment on the consent agenda, we will go straight to a vote. All those in favor? Thank you. We now have approval and discussion of appointees to various city boards, committees, and commissions. Mr. Beedenbow.
Thank you. We have the council consideration this evening the reappointment of Nancy Robb to the Arts Commission and the appointment of Bill Hall to the General Aviation Commission.
Thank you. Is there a motion to accept these nominations?
So moved, Madam Mayor, that we approve these.
Councilman Price made the motion, and a second
Second, Madam
from
Mayor.
Councilman Morgan. Comments from the public? Comments from the council? All those in favor? Thank you. It's unanimous. Are there any nominations to consider at our next meeting? With that being said, we will go on to the next item, which is old business and second reading and public hearing of an ordinance authorizing the city to consent to a lease assignment agreement for property located at 108 Lawrence Street Southwest. Mr. B. Denbo.
Thank you. This is an ordinance authorizing the city of Aiken to commit to a lease assignment and assumption agreement for property located at 108 Lawrence Street Southwest. This is just a simple assignment which the existing lease allows of the Vampire Penguin business to from the Vampire Penguin LLC to Sierra Swales. Nothing would change other than the current lease holder. And of course, this would transfer if the property is sold. And this does transfer all of the existing rights, title, and interest in the lease agreement to the proposed tenant. And this is before council for second reading this evening, Madam Mayor and council.
Thank you. Do I have a motion, please?
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Councilman Waldo?
I'll second, Madam Mayor.
From Councilwoman Broll. Are there any comments from the public? Comments from council? All those in favor? Thank you. It's unanimous. The final item under old business is second reading and public hearing authorizing the City of Aiken to accept an amended loan agreement from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for the Pinecrest Sewer Project. Mr. B. Denbo.
Thank you. This is a transfer of a portion of some of the CDBG funds. The Housing and Urban Development is the federal agency that manages this. We have been in contact with them. This would redirect money for the sewer installation for this neighborhood improvement project, which will install this approximately 1,750 linear feet of sanitary sewer and construct 6 new manholes, which would allow municipal sewer service into the Pinecrest neighborhood. This is a low to moderate income criteria. Those homes are currently on aging septic systems. The balance of what's left over will be used on Williamsburg Street. And this is, again, the loan was approved in 2022. This is just redirecting the monies for this project that will improve that area off of Hampton Avenue across from what used to be known as the Pinecrest School, Elementary School, and I cannot remember the name, but it's still a public school district property used for education. It's before you for second reading this evening, Madam Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Is there a motion for this exciting project?
So moved, Madam Mayor, that we approve this request.
Thank you. Councilman Price, and a second
I second.
from Councilwoman Diggs. Any comments from the public? Comments from council?
Just want to thank Sabina for her efforts and help and support with this.
Thank you, Sabina.
Where is she?
All those in favor? Thank you very much. It's unanimous. We now move to new business. The first item is first reading and public hearing of an ordinance to annex 1117 Conger Drive and zone it residential single-family RS15. Mr. Beedenbow.
Thank you. You read the title of the ordinance, Madam Mayor. This is approximately 7/300 of an acre. It is a contiguous annexation in Aiken Estates. Those present at the Planning Commission unanimously recommended it be annexed and zoned RS15 residential single family. It's before council this evening for consideration.
Thank you. Is there a motion to accept this?
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Councilman Waldo
Oh, he did. I'll second.
went first, and Councilman Broll is seconded the motion. Comments from the public? Comments from council? All those in favor? Thank you so much. The next item under new business is first reading and public hearing of an ordinance to rezone 117 Colleton Avenue Southwest from residential multifamily low density to downtown business. Mr. Beedenbow.
Thank you. We do have this request from the applicant that the property, it's owned by the proprietors of the Wilcox, it be rezoned to downtown business. The comprehensive land use and transportation plan, future land use maps assigns residential uses to this area which are permitted by the proposed downtown business zone. The residential multifamily permits residential uses. Special exception approval would be required for other uses. By zoning downtown business, this would allow the property known as the Chef's Cottage to continue to be used as an extension of the hotel by providing additional overnight accommodations to the Wilcox with the same amenities as the hotel. This property is in an overlay district, so I want to make sure that it is stated for the record that this property has to comply with both the regulations set forth in the zoning ordinance, which is what this is addressing for downtown business, but also in the overlay. And the most stringent rules will apply here within, and that would probably default to the overlay. And I know that was discussed at the Design Review Board meeting because we did have some well thought out and legitimate comments and concerns from adjacent property owners. The Design Review Board was requested by the Planning Commission to recommend how this should be addressed, and the Design Review Board recommended approval of the rezoning request, and that will also allow for the continued rehabilitation as needed and increased historic protection of the property. And those present at the Planning Commission's April 14th meeting reviewed this and unanimously recommended the rezoning, and it is before council this evening for first reading.
Thank you. Is there a motion to accept this?
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Brohl was the first motion and the second.
Me.
Oh, sorry, Councilwoman Diggs. And Councilwoman Price second the motion. Any comments from the public? Comments from council?
I just wanted to share that we have received and met with the owners of the Wilcox, Stuart and myself and some others. In addition to that, there are further concerns, and these are all property adjacent, that they have some questions, and Stuart and I will be meeting with those property owners to clarify some things. You often know that when one person will say something, oftentimes it gets confusion, and we want to halt that confusion very early. So we should be meeting with them very soon in the future regarding the adjoining properties, the neighborhood.
Thank you for that. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Unanimous. Now we have first reading and public hearing of an ordinance to rezone property at 1518 Two Notch Road from limited professional to limited business. Mr. Beedenbow.
Thank you. You read the title of the ordinance. This is a rezoning request for approximately 48/100ths of an acre for the applicant at 1518 Two Notch Road to limited business. The current zoning designation of limited professional allows for blending limited scale professional offices in certain types of selected institutions. This floor design and design of such uses is regulated to ensure compatibility with adjacent residential areas. The proposed zoning of LB provides for similar blending of a limited range of retail and service activities of a pedestrian oriented nature with residential uses, and the floor design and design of such uses is regulated to ensure compatibility with adjacent areas, residential areas. With limited business, the zoning permits certain types of businesses such as some dine-in or takeout restaurants, grocery, furniture store, home furnishing. Special approval from BZA is required for other uses such as religious institutions and services such as hair and nail salons. This rezoning, the purpose is the applicant does want to provide some hair and nail services to go along with their other services at Avello Med Spa, and this would allow them to pursue a special exception from the Board of Zoning Appeals for that use. And this rezoning is before the council for first reading tonight. The Planning Commission heard this at their April 14th meeting, and all present unanimously recommended the rezoning, and it is before you this evening.
Thank you so much. Is there a motion to accept this ordinance, rezone?
I so move, Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Morgan made the motion, and a second.
Second.
Second from Councilman Waldo. Any comments from the public? Comments from the council?
Madam Mayor, I just have, as I understand this, Mr. Beanbo, this rezoning would allow them to go before BZA for a special exception, correct?
That is correct. They would need that to go that step in order to put that hair and nail type service in at that location.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else on council? Questions? All those in favor? Thank you. Next, we have first reading and public hearing of an ordinance to annex 2065 Pine Log Road and zone it residential single-family RS15. Mr. Beedenbow.
Thank you. The title of the ordinance has been read. It's approximately 8,500ths of an acre in the Pine Log Acres subdivision. Those present at the April 14th Planning Commission meeting unanimously recommended annexation and zone RS15 to council, and it is before you for first reading this evening.
Thank you. A motion, please.
So move, Madam Mayor.
Councilman Waldo,
And I'll second, Madam Mayor.
and a second from Councilman Brohl. Any comments from the public? Comments from council? All those in favor? Thank you. It's unanimous. The next item is first reading and public hearing of an ordinance to annex 7.08 acres owned by the City of Aiken on Thoroughbred Run, Powderhouse Road, and Old Powderhouse Road. Mr. Beedenbow.
Thank you. It is an ordinance to annex the corporate limits of the City of Aiken, certain property consisting of 7.08 acres of land owned by the City of Aiken, and assign it as right-of-way with no zoning applied. I want to just sort of give a little bit of history of how we got to this point. In 2006, in response to Southside Development, a study jointly sponsored by the county and the city and others hired a firm to broach the subject of a connector road, the so-called Powderhouse connector. Like a lot of projects that are very ambitious, when there's no money, it's hard to move forward. So about 10 years later, in 2016, council gave staff the permission to begin inquiring about acquiring right-of-way for this property. So I see myself and two hardworking engineers from then WR Tool and I spent a full day, well into the evening, meeting with about a dozen property owners at an off-site office to inquire about their interest in providing right-of-way. So that started the conversation, but we still had no money. We need money to do this project. So as part of the thought process that residents and others in the community want infrastructure to keep up with growth, and from a road management standpoint, I don't believe anyone can say that Whiskey Road has kept up with that. The city put on the 2018 capital project sales tax ballot one of the road items was $8 million for Whiskey Road corridor improvements and congestion relief. And the bulk of this money was dedicated to the Powderhouse connector. The referendum for capital project sales tax 4 passed by a margin of 65% to 35% countywide. So this was a project that was not viewed, it was within the arc of acceptable projects by the voters of Aiken County. I looked at the statistics in the general area where this is. It passed 63% in the College Acres voting precinct and 70% in the precinct that includes the Mallard Lake subdivision. Again, I'm not saying that this project was why they voted yes, but it did not fall outside the bounds of an unacceptable project based on these voting totals. So, fast forward, the city began to try to seek additional funding to provide for construction of a roadway estimated to cost $40 million. We had about $7 to $8 million based on capital project sales tax 4. So the city began working hard. First, we partnered with the Metropolitan Transportation Group we belong to, ARTS, the Augusta Regional Transportation Study Committee, and had the project moved up into what we call the TIP, the Transportation Improvement Program. We had it moved up into Tier 1, which instantly made the project viable for additional funding from other entities. Then we worked hard to solicit federal funding for this project. We needed a patron to sponsor the money. We had a United States Senator sponsor $8 million of federal funds, and we received that money in 2022. That then, coupled with the local match and the fact it was in Tier 1 of the Transportation Improvement Plan of the Augusta Regional Transportation Study Committee, made us competitive for the third time in applying for the balance of the money from the State Transportation Infrastructure Bank. They score the project as you would a test, as I took them in school, where 100 is the best score and a 0 is the worst score. The first time we applied, we scored a 0. So that tells you how poor an application it was, and it was simply for two reasons. It was not high enough in the tip, and we were unable to demonstrate financial capacity. On the third try, we scored the highest of all the applicants and scored, I believe, an 81. So we were very proud of how our score went from 0 to 81. Even though we strive to score 100, we'll take it. That meant we received $21 to $22 million of Transportation Infrastructure Bank money, which meant the project could proceed. That was in 2022. As we move forward, we began actively working with property owners for property conveyance, focusing on what we called Phase 1 of the project. Phase 1 of the project, property conveyances were received from multiple property owners, and in April of 2025, about 51 or 50, I think 52 weeks ago, it was the week after the 2025 Masters, we had a groundbreaking for Phase 1. Phase 1 is progressing well and should be complete by September 2026. On a parallel track, we've been acquiring right-of-way property for Phase 2, so we can begin that soon after Phase 1. So we hope that we can start Phase 2 sometime around the end of the calendar year or early 2027. So as part of this, we've acquired the property that's before you tonight for annexation into the city because ultimately it will be a city-maintained road. Because it is built with federal funds and it is a limited access parkway, it's got several unique features. With the federal funds, we have a multi-use path similar to what you see on Pine Log Road from around Millbrook Elementary all the way to around Aiken High School, that the bypass, as well as Hitchcock Parkway. And it will also have a landscape median and, again, limited access points onto the roadway. We, as part of the project, we have to meet certain criteria. And it does. This phase 2 project, we could have not gotten to this point from the federal government by not meeting so-called NEPA standards, which are environmental standards that account for disturbances of property and issues with stormwater. And I know what the speaker previously meant. We take those comments extremely seriously. We also recognize that drainage basin has some challenges, but I think we will continue to work to try to ultimately, once the project is finished, the flow rate will be pre-construction levels. But that is something we're going to continue to keep an eye on, and I expect the residents to continue to hold us accountable to make sure we do as they should. So this annexation is before you tonight for first reading. I'm sorry I spoke for a while, but I did believe it was very important to establish the sort of how we got here story of the Powderhouse connector. Thank you.
Thank you for that very well explained project. Is there a motion, please?
So moved, Madam Mayor.
Councilman Waldo made the motion.
I will second, Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Brohl second the motion. Comments from the public? Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Council. I'm Dr. Bob Van Pelt. I live at 303 South Bank Drive. I'm also the HOA president of Mallard Lake Subdivision, which is like adjacent to what you're trying to annex. We urge the City Council to pause and reconsider the zoning and annexation approvals tied to this corridor. We're not against development, but we request sustainable development with preservation of natural resources and habitats under the City of Aiken Comprehensive Plan. Your decision to proceed with this annexation in Road 2 takes away from our quality of life with more traffic, safety concerns, runoff and flooding issues, etc., etc. Annexation to support this phase 2 will not address the chronic traffic congestion along the Whiskey Corridor and East Pine Log based on the existing traffic patterns. It's just going to add to it. It'll also result in a devastating loss of some of the last bit of old growth forest over here on the south side and have an impact to the wetlands and wildlife. I mean, we just had Earth Day and you just want to go ahead and destroy it. Where's the common sense decision making here in Aiken? Plus this phase 2, you just mentioned about a median and bike paths. That's absurd. We don't need this. No one is riding bicycles on East Pine Log and over to Whiskey Road. Okay, just look at the bypass you mentioned, useless multi-use pass which could have been used to expand the road and allow for more flow of the traffic. If you need an access road, look for a portion of the cotton field. You can build a road through there to Thoroughbred Run and then have a light at the intersection of Thoroughbred and Powderhouse. It'll work just as well, much less money, and you can use the remaining money to address all the road issues and infrastructure problems we have throughout the City of Aiken. So please, stop destroying the small town fabric of Aiken. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Come forward.
I am Gail Wilkinson. I live 1614 Powderhouse Road. And, you know, when I think about this, I have looked at the maps, and I'm wondering how that is, you know, how we would be able to, I don't know, I'm just sad about it because I think that you are about to change the small amount of areas, and I don't know, what can I say? I should not be speaking right now. My apologies.
Thank you. Good evening.
Laura Ferrazano. I live at 130 Mallard Lake Drive. I have lived here for 8 years in Aiken, and I have watched that beautiful bit of land that you want to build a road through. I've seen it be chipped away, and it's a very important part of our neighborhood and our quality of life. I am devastated that you want to build a road through that. A road that cannot be and has not been proven to be of use. It's not, the numbers don't number on Whiskey Road and Powderhouse. The connector is not going to work. Phase 1, all right. Phase 2, show me the studies, the recent studies of how that's going to help us. More importantly, though, I have a question for Mr. Biedenbaugh about why there is a request to zone this annexed property RMH when it's for a road right of way. So
That was a Ms. Scrivener's error. There will be no zoning for it.
So the NA that you wrote in the application for not applicable for the zoning was a Scrivener's error?
No, it is not being zoned RMH. The Scrivener's error was in the memo. It is not going to have a zoning. That's why an NA was written in the application.
So without zoning, how does it get annexed?
It is a public right-of-way, so it does not need to be zoned.
So there will not be any high density along that road. Is that correct?
We will not be building structures within, there will not be any development in the roadway. This is only talking about the footprint of the roadway. No, ma'am, that's a different matter. Let's not confuse the issue.
I'm not confusing the issue, sir. Next to the roadway will be.
That will be addressed as property owners bring those properties forward for consideration. This is only about the roadway.
Don't ruin our woods. We have so few. Do the right thing for once.
Anyone else like to speak about this? Comments from council?
Yeah, I want to make a comment to my constituents that came tonight. The issue that we're experiencing right now on the Powderhouse connecting the road with the traffic issue, I think that could be a lack of development onto the northeast and west side of town. We have not put adequate amount of grocery stores, adequate amount of retail, restaurants into those areas. So that way now you see so much traffic influx into District 5 is because we do not have a separation of balance amongst the entire city. Once we see that balance amongst the entire city, then we will see that traffic number slightly increase or significantly increase once we start that process. So I think that's something that people should keep in mind, is that we have not expanded or balanced some of that development onto the northeast and the west side yet, because District 5 is pretty much everyday essentials for retail, grocery shopping, you name it. Everybody has to come to the district for everyday use. So once we expand that, then we will see that traffic number slightly increase the more and more we do throughout the entire city. Just to clarify that.
Madam Mayor, excuse me if I may, I concur with Councilman Waldo's assessment. Also, this is just a right-of-way. There's not going to be anything built on this, and it's going to be annexed into the city. Now, I know there's people that are having drainage issues. Right now, no one's addressing that. If it's annexed into the city, it falls on our shoulders to address that. So if you want it to continue like it is, with the problems you're having, you know, that's, if it doesn't get annexed, those will continue. But this is strictly for right-of-way. There will be no homes on this.
Thank you for clearing that up. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. No, can I not do that? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's already come to council. I'm sorry. Did I not see your hand?
She had it out.
She did have it.
She raised her hand before?
Yeah, she had a hand up. She had a hand up.
I should let her come up?
Yes.
Yeah. Please, I'm sorry. I didn't see you before. I apologize.
My name is Linda Pasawisti. I'm at 341 South Bank in Mallard Lake. And I just wanted to reiterate what the press people that live in our neighborhood came up, and this is a beautiful area that we have, and there's a lot of wildlife in there. We hear owls, eagles, deer. This is a small portion. And when you say it's just a right-of-way, that kind of makes it sound not important to a lot of other things. It's not just a right-of-way. It's kind of an invasion of our area and a displacement of a lot of creatures. And some of us who live around the lake don't have fences, so that's going to force this wildlife into our yards potentially. And it should be under consideration that is this really going to justify what small amount of roadway that you're going to provide to take away from what we all have. These are our homes. It's a lot of homes that you're kind of invading with this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Did I miss anyone else's hand? Did you want to make a comment?
Yes, yes. Madam Mayor, I was at the Planning Commission meeting and was listening to them and some of the problems they have with the water backup, especially the gentleman in the gray sweater, and Todd Still was talking about it, and I think they got the runaround. They didn't. Some people tell him it's a county problem, other people tell him it's a city problem. I think what Councilwoman Brohl was trying to say is this is, if it's annexed into the city, it'll be a city problem. We'll have to fix it. Right now, it's just going to stay like it is. You won't get any answers. You won't have any of the city officials, city departments to address the problems you have. Once it comes into the city, it will be our responsibility to take care of it. And I know you want that taken care of, and so does Todd Still. He made that very clear. I apologize for those problems that y'all have, and that you've been getting the runaround. But just like Braylon said and Councilman Waldo said, it's not a totally bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but we do need some grocery stores on that side of town and the north side. Nobody's coming to offer us anything if we don't get some things done. So we definitely need that. I don't have anything else to say, but just consider that all of those issues that you've been having will finally be taken care of by the city, because it will be our responsibility.
Thank you for saying that.
Madam Mayor, I just had a couple of questions. I don't have a problem voting on this tonight to move it forward to the second reading, but at the second reading, I'd like to request that we have a better overview and answer the concerns that were spoken today. maybe a little bit out in the stormwater annexation. If you're annexing the roadway, how will that affect the corresponding and adjacent homeowners? Because I think that is a concern that I had people call me about, and I think might have come up at the Planning Commission. If we can answer and alleviate some of the concerns brought up, how is it really going to impact? We've had this discussion all night. Some of us have little tidbits, and we don't know the bigger picture. And I think if we went up, looked at it, and had some oversight at the next hearing, it would be helpful.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And to that point, we did have an initial meeting at, what was that meeting at? Woodside?
Yes.
It was at Woodside that night, and we had Oliver and his team. Also, Jason from the Aiken Town Park was there, and they were very resourceful. It was about 150 people there. So I do invite the community next time we have those town halls to please come and voice your concerns when we have those. But I think that's a good point, Barbara, for us to have that in the second reading. Yep.
I want to really applaud that district that Breland wanted or sent information out to invite the constituency base to that meeting. Frankly, we don't see that kind of attendance at a meeting when you are having neighborhood meeting. And it was over 150 people there. Great questions asked. And he had the people there to respond to those questions. And I'm not in that district, but I'm there to listen, to find out the input. And we had our city manager there. It was quite an impactful meeting. And those meetings are held to give insight, but it was some very strong questions asked and people looking for direction in terms of where they're going. But to admit to you, I'm one of the guilty ones that's causing you problems. And I'm guilty because I, almost every day, either my husband and myself, we're going to the South Side because the South Side provides things that we need. As Breland has clearly said, it deals with balance and growth, and the city is working on that balance. We don't have the level of grocery stores that is on the South Side. We don't have hotels on that side and many other amenities that the residents there enjoy. And that is why we're trying to get that towards I-20, where growth is happening, and the city has been very conscious of putting in the infrastructure and ensuring that growth continues. But you have to market it such that businesses want to come to that area. And that's where we are right now, trying to encourage business, the positive things with growth that is occurring on the north and east side, northwest and northeast side of town, where our growth is attractive. So.
And I do want to know, in July of 2025, we had a federally required public hearing where we accepted public comment about the project, both in writing and verbally. And we had another workshop that was a public information session approximately 6 to 12 months prior to that. So we've had a fair amount of feedback for this project. And again, this goes back about 20 years, the need for this. And I do want to reiterate that the residents within the community want infrastructure to keep up. Mm-hmm. And you can argue, one can have in the marketplace of ideas, discuss whether or not this is too late, but it will have a positive decrease in traffic because, again, the busiest part of Whiskey Road and the traffic studies, the level of service studies we have every 2 years show basically between Pine Log and Powderhouse, specifically in the corridor between Eastgate and Pine Log, is the busiest stretch of road, certainly in Aiken and the surrounding area, if not Aiken County. Highway 25 and exit 5 might be just as busy, but it's definitely in the top two. And by using this to take the traffic off of that stretch of Whiskey Road, it will have a substantial positive impact on that traffic on Whiskey Road, which is one of the things consistently we have heard for decades.
And we are not voting on anything but the right-of-way at this time. So that is what I'm asking for, a vote. All those in favor?
On the right-of-way.
Annexation of the right-of-way.
That's right. That's all.
Yeah, everything else has been approved.
That's all this is. So all those in favor? Yes, okay. It's passed, the motion, or the, yes, motion's passed. Thank you. And we'll go to the final, second reading, and we will do as Councilman Morgan.
Yes, we will have a report, and we'll have appropriate people here to speak to how the annexing of the road right-of-way with no zoning will impact surrounding property.
Thank you. The final item under new business this evening is first reading and public hearing of an ordinance to rezone a portion of the parcel at 346 Columbia Avenue Northwest from general business to residential single-family. Mr. Beedenbow.
Thank you. You may recall recently the city acquired 11/100ths of an acre portion of property at 346 Columbia Avenue Northwest in exchange for a sewer easement for a business that's going to locate on Lawrence Street. Now we have rolled this into Osmond Park, but we now have split zoning, and we want to roll it into what the park, the majority of the park that's noted just below the box in yellow on the display shows to residential single-family RS10. Those planning commissioners present unanimously voted to recommend that it be zoned residential single-family RS10, and it is before you for first reading this evening.
Thank you. Is there a motion to? Thank you. Councilwoman Price made the motion.
I second.
Second from Councilwoman Broll. Any comments from the public? Comments from council? All those in favor? Thank you. We now move on to petitions and requests. We have one item this evening. It is approval of a resolution with the South Carolina Forestry Commission. Mr. Beedenbow.
Thank you. Again, I do want to describe how we got to this point. Oh gosh, in the early 2000s, the city was approached by the landowner of about 5,200 acres to acquire property for the Shaw's Creek watershed protection. At the time, the council did not believe it was in the best interest to pursue that, so it moved forward. Fast forward to around 2016, property on the west side of the creek, some of the property, that 5,200 acres was converted to a solar farm, but the balance on the east side around the reservoir was still in existence. We met with representatives of the Aiken Land Conservancy and had multiple conversations with the then owner, who has ancestral ties to this area but currently lives in Florida. He was that then property owner was extremely patient, wanted to see the property put in some sort of conservation, even though there was a interest in developing everything from large single-family large tract housing to putting in a golf course. The city's focus was protection of our reservoir and the watershed. Through the years, we've strategically been receiving 319 grants, so-called 319 grants from what was then known as DHEC, now known as Department of Environmental Services, to protect our wetlands in the wetlands area upstream from our water plant to the reservoir. And this would be go a long way in getting a lot of that Upper Shaw's Creek watershed protected. The council in December 2020 voted to purchase the property, and we proceeded to do so and closed on the purchase by the end of the calendar year 2020. The property was purchased, and we proceeded to replat the area to provide a larger buffer around the reservoir, but we still had the 2,600 acres. We engaged the services of a contract forester to do some forestry management for us, and the first goal was to convert the property. There was a lot of invasive species of trees, so we began to systematically look at the property and to replant native species longleaf pines. So we've been doing some of that. Several hundred acres has been done that way. Also, at the time when we purchased the property, we designated about 300 acres as a special purpose area in the event that the public felt or believed that the city overreached by spending $5.25 million to protect this property. We would have an asset that could recoup a fair amount of the money. However, the public reaction to the city purchasing this property was universally positive. I don't believe anyone on council or any staff members got any negative feedback publicly about this action. So when we look to put the property in a conservation easement to protect in perpetuity, we decided to include the 300 acre special purpose area. So the entirety of the tract is in a conservation easement. And 2 years ago, I believe it was in May of 2024, the city executed a conservation easement with the state, the agency that Raleigh West has. What's the name of the? The South Carolina Conservation Bank, and the city received about the easement had a value of $1,900,000, and after associated costs that come with recording the document, the city netted about $1,700,000. But the key factor is that the entirety of this property, 2,658 acres, is put in a conservation easement in perpetuity. Now, what does that mean as it relates to members of the public? Well, the city believes that we need to take a strong look at making this publicly accessible property for recreation by passive recreation. What we mean by that is that it would stay in its largely primitive or undeveloped state, be open for hiking, running, bicycling, equestrian pursuits, etc., and very minimal development. By minimal development, I mean nothing more than trails, maybe some picnic shelters, primitive restrooms, but no development as most people define it, meaning development for residential use or for commercial use or industrial use. It would be preserved in fundamentally a natural state. The city is looking at how best to pursue this goal, and the city doesn't. We believe at this point we need to look at taking the approach that the city did our part to take it off the development rolls by purchasing it, but potentially conveying it to an entity that has the background and experience to manage it, both from a forestry standpoint, good stewardship, as we have started doing, as I mentioned earlier, where we're removing invasive species, replanting native trees, to ensure that it remains a preserved jewel within the crown of western central South Carolina. So the Forestry Commission has experience in this. They have managed for many years state forests, and they have been also acquiring additional assets as conservation of land. You talk to members of our General Assembly, and they will say that the number one concern of residents of South Carolina is development and growth in our state, and preserving a lot of the natural beauty and land that makes South Carolina an attractive place to live, and people want to come and live here. So what we have tonight is a resolution just to sort of, in an effort to be transparent and above board with our with everyone with this precious asset, that we council consider passage of a resolution that would allow staff to begin conversing with the Forestry Commission to see if it is in our interest to consider a conveyance of property, of this property or the bulk of this property, to the city of Aiken. Again, a non-negotiable, as far as I'm concerned, is that the conservation easement that we have stays on the property. Also, protection of the natural water resources continues, the reservoir, etc. But before you deny it is this resolution to pursue that, Madam Mayor and Council.
Again, thank you for that wonderful presentation. Do I have a motion, please?
I so move.
Councilwoman Diggs made the motion.
And I'll second, Madam Mayor.
A second from Councilwoman Brohl. Comments from the public? Comments from council?
Well, I just have to say I'm excited about this. I think this resolution gives us the opportunity to speak with the people that really know about this, from the Land Conservancy, excuse me, and from the Forestry Commission, who will help work with us to keep this as a real treasure in our city. This many acres is the things that can be done there. This is going to surpass North Augusta's Greenway in size and opportunity. We're also talking about connecting our Beverly Clyburn Generations Park to this, so we will have that entire area will be open, which is just blows my mind. I think it's a wonderful thing. And it's also then we're continuing to protect our reservoir, which is one of our sources of water, which is very important. So I'm excited about moving forward with this and working more with you to help us. Do you want to introduce those people? Would you come to the dais so we can?
Yes, we have James from the Forest Commission, and we have Peter from the Aiken Land Conservancy. Peter Kleinhentz and James Douglas. I don't know why. I want to call you James Forrest. I don't know why.
Because he's with the Forestry Commission. You want to just tell us a little bit?
Yeah, I can. I said James Douglas, South Carolina Forestry Commission. I'm our State Lands Program Manager. The Forestry Commission currently owns 6 state forests across the state, from Pickens County all the way to Georgetown County, and we're working on adding some properties down in Jasper County. We currently own 103,000 acres, and our properties are managed for multiple use. So we do cut timber, but we also provide public recreation and public opportunity.
Thank you. And Peter?
And again, I want to emphasize the cutting of the timber is, I think, healthy for the forest, because over the years, this historically was owned by a paper company. So it was it was monetized and harvested for those assets, and they were replanting. But once it was sold, it certainly was not managed, maybe to the level it was when it was owned by the paper company, something similar to that to ensure that we have that native species and get the invasive species out helps on so many levels.
Yeah, good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. I would just like to say, I won't go through everything, but I'm happy to answer questions. But what I would like to do is invite any of you and any members of the public so interested in visiting the property. If you have not seen the rock outcrops, if you've not seen the blooming mountain laurel, if you've not seen the lake itself or the wetlands, I would be more than happy to take anyone out there and see it for yourself. And I think the second you step foot on that property, you'll realize how much of an asset it really is. So thank you for your support on this, but also thank you for your support to protect it and purchase it in the first place. I think that was a very wise and forward-thinking move, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
For the record, could we repeat the percentage that the public schools will be receiving from that?
Yes, as part of the Forestry Commission's charge, any of their property that they earn revenue on, whether it's any proceeds from timber sales or if it's any fees charged for access, events, what have you, 25% of those revenues are remitted to the school district that the property is in. So since Aiken has a countywide consolidated school district, 25% of those revenues would go. I don't want people to get the false impression it's going to be making millions of dollars, but I mean, there will be some return of a modest amount to the school district.
Because the fee is very modest to visit, correct?
Correct. Currently on our properties, we do charge recreational fees, but it's $5 a day or $25 for a year.
Right, so
minimal fees.
That's
a
very
bargain.
affordable for a lot of people.
Madam Mayor, just wanted you to share this in the audience. We sit in these sessions in terms of getting this briefing prior to the meetings, our full support meetings. But you mentioned that you have 103,000 acres and 6 forestry. And Stuart, you may have to answer this in terms of how many acres do we have just within our area, so the public does not think that we're getting this confused, that we own 103,000 acres versus the over 2,000 that we purchased.
Yes. Oh, do you want me to give the acres?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And that's a good clarifying point.
Yes.
So this property is 2,658 acres. And a very, very important piece that I should have mentioned previously is that this is already adjacent to about 3,300 acres of permanently protected land. And I won't go into the details of this, but this opportunity would allow us to permanently protect 549 additional acres. So all told, we're talking about a network of permanently protected land that is approaching 4,000 acres in size, which is comparable to some of the largest pieces of protected land in the state.
And if you look at a map with the county doing their comprehensive plan recently, they had a countywide map that delineated properties that were developed, undeveloped, but able for developed agricultural. But they had one that had very little unique coloring, and that was property put in easements for conservation easements or for preservation. And I believe the largest color blotch for that was this tract.
This would be the, and let me make sure I have this
It's about 500 acres
This would
larger
be-
than Hitchcock Woods.
Yeah, this would be the second largest public access conserved land in Aiken County, a county the size of Rhode Island, second only to Silver Bluff Audubon Sanctuary, which is about 3,600 acres in size. So this is a very, very significant, not just for Aiken County, but in my personal opinion, this is a place that would attract people from, as far away as Columbia and Augusta to visit Aiken County, which I think is an important component.
And that is key as we talk about the growth and the balance. Here is an attraction that will, I think, be a great contributor of the balance with the amenities that this location will bring. We will see a lot of folks coming from multiple directions wanting to visit that area. So we're on a good path.
I mean, and two, one of the things that really struck a chord with me was if you head west down Interstate 20 from exit 22 to the Savannah River, starting at exit 11, those exits have been developed over time, and this preserves, like you were saying, thousands of acres between the two interstate exits that will not see development. And I know growth, I think this strikes the chord of what what statewide citizens have said, and we certainly heard something similar tonight about an unrelated matter. And we have very engaged residents in Aiken, in the city of Aiken and in Aiken County, and it is a concern. And being able to preserve thousands and thousands of acres, I think, is a substantial positive thing.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I would also like to say thank the the current council people that have been waiting on this, that they will now be able to open it up to biking, potentially hiking, those of us who birding, just the outdoor experience that people quest for, and to have a location that allows near the interstate is just phenomenal, and that it preserves our water source. It's really just an incredible event that we're at a juncture that I think we all should celebrate.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you all.
That's a wonderful
I'm looking at District 2 smiling out there.
a wonderful opportunity.
And we hadn't seen Sean in a while, so it's good to have Sean back.
Thank you. Would you
vote?
Any more? Yes, all those in favor, please, for this wonderful opportunity. It's unanimous. Thank you very much. We will now open the floor to public comments on non-agenda items. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per speaker and for a total of 30 minutes. Yes, Teresa, good evening. Yes.
Madam Mayor, Council, Teresa Callahan, Eyes on Aiken. I'm trying to hold my composure, certainly. We have a big problem. Everything was going good. Sorry. But we do have a big problem in our area. I thought this was going to be easy to say, but it's not. There's been multiple shootings. We have three veterans that we're trying to keep calm because of them. Our seniors are calling us scared to come out of their homes. We were doing pretty good when the cameras were put up. It's as though we've gone maybe 10 steps backwards. Thank you. Okay. You got this. It's 11 of us that have moved back in our parents' homes to hopefully make the area better. We thought we were doing so. But it's getting worse. the donut holes that we have on Hampton Avenue is one of the biggest problems that we have because we have city, county that has to come. And if we can get together with county to possibly merge every one city and possibly give some incentives, some kind of way which will maybe help them merge. That would probably be a big, that would probably take care of the problem. I really believe that. I bugged the heck out of Chief Ranko, and I thank him so much, and his officers. He even sent someone to my home to calm us down because there's so much is going on. Ms. Parks just had the last shooting and went through her car, and I think you all know Ms. Parks. And they went through her window. Her son had to lay on the floor. My Aunt Gloria that lives around what's the area? Right, Kennedy Colony. They were we have LaShawn, Barbara Jean, and Cecilia are there on Washington Circle. Barbara's on Kennedy Colony. She's one of the people also, our residents that moved back in our parents' home as well, that witnessed all this stuff. And if we can just come together with the county, I think that'll help a whole heap. But when you have veterans that you have to keep calm because they're looking for their weapons, that's not good. I think I have PTSD now from it. But it's a lot. And especially when people depend on you because they think you're the rock of the neighborhood. So they call you. And so you try to keep yourself together, which I thought I was going to be able to do tonight, but here I am. I'm sorry. Thank you guys for listening. You guys know better than I know on what to do. And again, I thank Chief Parenko. I thank Marty Sawyer. I thank the state troopers. They have been coming out. We stay on the phone at night because we got another threat the other night, Saturday night, saying that there was retaliation from one of the neighbors that passed it to me. I said, call the police, please. Make sure Chief Parenko knows, even though he's not there. And so we stayed on watch because it was going to happen between 1 and 2. And maybe because it was saturated, I don't know if Chief had someone, they had someone to come and saturate the area. That's why they didn't do it, but we're still waiting on it from what we're told. So just wanted to let you guys know what we're going through. And we love Aiken, of course, and we would love to see Aiken grow, definitely, but we really need help. Just want you guys to know.
Thank you for coming and talking.
Thank y'all so much for all you do.
Teresa, thank you for what you all do. And please don't think it's something you're not doing.
I know.
Because you're doing everything you can to make your neighborhood better than it was.
We ran around.
Now, the people that are coming in, are they residents or are they visiting people?
They're visiting.
Okay.
They visiting.
Those people need to
And
keep
then we
them
have those
away
little
from their
apartments
home.
up there. That's county, and
Yes.
see that they have no management.
Yes.
The Wisteria manager was the manager's management company, and the young lady called me. She said, "Miss Teresa, I can't do it. I quit."
See.
So there's no manager there now, and so a lot of that's county, and so a lot of
Right.
area activities there really bad.
And let me say this. Hello to everyone. Good to see you. One of the things that's hurting us, and it's hurting us tremendously, is with the donut holes. You can have one house in the city, the next two in the county, then the next one in the city. If there's some way that we can begin to have conversation, sit down, let's sit at the table, let's open those maps, let's see where these places are that we can go to the neighbors and talk about, hey, listen, here are the benefits of coming into the city, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So we gotta do something. We gotta do something to get our police presence cohesive, because sometimes they don't know whether it's the county supposed to be responding or the city is supposed to be responding. And we think, we're blessed for their relationship that they have where they work together. But,
What are the streets? Is it Washington Circle mostly?
those around North Carolina
Hampton,
Avenue,
North
Hampton
Carolina.
Avenue, you always got, Pinecrest and
Right,
things, but
right. I
yeah,
know the
so
area.
And then Pinecrest, we have all that. So, so we're on every area trying to keep eyes out.
And when you're my neighbor, Mr. Woodward, Aaron Woodward, I came over and went to the porch the other day and sat with him, and he told me, he said, "LaShawn, it's been a long time since we were able to sit out on the front porch and just watch the neighborhood because of we had a little rowdy house, but they're gone now. And then the next night, shooting again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He is a Vietnam vet
We have,
who sprayed with Agent Orange. We are over our time. I'm sorry.
we're talking about time.
Madam Mayor, if I may address that, please. I received calls on Saturday. Leroy Bates and his wife called. I did call you, Teresa, left a message on your phone. But they had called 911, could not get an answer. When I called 911 after they said they couldn't get 911, they did answer and wanted to know the location. Leroy said it was around Washington Circle, but he wasn't sure. He and his wife said, "We're not sure where the bullets, the fire is coming from." And public safety asked for quite a few details. I gave them Leroy's contact number. I think they went by, I'm pretty sure they did, to talk with he and his wife. Having said that, the chief has given me an update in terms of where we are. And that is, can I use the term under control? Not under control, but you're aware of what's taking place. Is that right? And that's where we are.
I like to thank Chief also because he sent someone to come check on me. I was in shambles.
Well, I am sorry that you're feeling that anxiety. That is
I have a veteran as well, and so
Yeah.
the PTSD
Yeah.
he has
Yeah.
has an effect on me as well.
But there are several others in the neighborhood too that had other heard the gunfire as well. And this is during the middle of the day, around 12 o'clock.
day.
Right, during the day. On your street, you heard 30 shots. That was last week or weekend before last?
That was
weekend before
weeks
last.
ago. He called me. I was in a meeting.
Right.
He was looking for his
And
he
to
was looking for
live
his guns.
in that kind of area when you're hearing these gunfires. But it's all about, too, our neighborhood and our neighbors and how there are many problems that needs addressing, that we are not coming up with the solutions, and people moving into those areas. Some of them are moving in with family members or whomever. So there's a lot to be discussed and how we can get better control of those areas,
I think the donut holes would help a lot.
especially with safety and the seniors that are living in those communities.
That's what I'm so worried about.
Yeah.
'Cause they call us continuously.
Right. But appreciate your service and your keeping your eyes and your ears open.
Thank you so much.
And Cassandra, they know the problems we had on Red Street with 3 murders.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
anyway.
I know. And thank you to Stuart for listening.
Would anyone else like to make, yes?
It's the incentives.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, council members. My name is Cecilia Robinson. I live at 660 Washington Circle, and I just want to give you my view on what's going on in our community. I spent most of my life on Washington Circle. I started there when I was in elementary school. I left for some time and came back. And when I did come back, most of the people I knew growing up had either moved away or passed away. And now I'm seeing people come in, they're younger, and they have no sense of community or neighborliness. They don't communicate with their neighbors. And a lot of them have brought in elements that we, as the older generation, we have to be on alert all the time. And we experienced the shootings and violence, and we thought that as an older generation, we could enjoy the peace we had growing up, but that's not the case. It used to be quiet and peaceful, but now we hear the shooting and violence on a regular basis. And we would like to maintain a modicum of peace in our neighborhood. We're, we would like to not bring any more elements with potential for violence and decreasing the sense of what little security we have. And we have been notified that there's an individual that wants to purchase a house on Washington Circle and make it into a halfway house. With all the shooting and violence that we already have to deal with, we would not like to see any more potential for violence to come into our area. I just wanted to make you known. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Hello, Barbara.
Excuse me, my name is Barbara Williams, president of the Sugar Hill neighborhood on the north side. I just want to offer what I sense is my posture for encouragement of growth that you all have talked about and how that's going to possibly impact what was recently shared with you about the violence and all that. And I think Cecilia, what's your name? Cecilia, when she talked about people moving in, possibly young people not having a sense of community, when we don't have all of the services that we really need on our side of town, which is the north side of town, and it forces us to go to the south side of town, we lose that sense of community, seeing each other in grocery stores and other places where we can say hello and fellowship and all that. So I really applaud everyone for the attention that the north side is going to gain, especially with, you know, the forestry coming up and everything, all the growth. You know, the attention that's going to be put back on the north side, that's going to help our sense of community, I feel, and allow us to stay in fellowship as we take care of our basic needs on the north side. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Yes, sir.
My name is Brad Gutierrez. I'm one of the owners of the Parlor Coffee and Company right here on Richland Avenue, 703 Richland Avenue East, a couple blocks down the road. I just want to address a parking issue. There is not yet a parking plans for the east side. My establishment, along with my neighbors, we are seeing a growth of 30% of guests and